Well, hello guys. It's been a while. This is the Betamax man. Got a Sony Super Beta Hi-Fi, Super Betamax VCR, model SL810D. The D in the model number stands for digital picture. The digital effects, like their stop motion, flash motion, picture art, and recall. And then you have digital off, which turns the effects off. So here's the thing. This VCR belonged to a customer of mine, and we fixed it, and then I sent it back to him, and then he told me in an email that the VCR had stopped working. So I said, okay, ship it back to me and we'll fix it. So he did, and basically he told me that the VCR had stopped powering on. He went to go use it and it stopped powering on. And we were talking, and he was wanting Beta Hi-Fi machine. He was wanting to get one with Hi-Fi. I told him, I said, well, you know, I've got an SL HF400 that I repaired a few months back. That was mine, that I bought off eBay, and I fixed it because that one just had a voltage regulator failed. You guys will have to go back to that video if you want to see it, but I don't remember exactly all that was wrong with it. But anyway, that one was fixed. So I told the customer that owns this that I have one, and he said, hey, would you be willing to trade? And he didn't think I would say yes. I said, sure, I can do that. You know, because I had never owned an SL810D, and I wanted to have one in my collection because it's got these really cool digital effects, and it's just really cool to have, and it looks amazing. I love the looks of this particular model. I think it just looks so cool. Anyway, so I sent him the 400. He's a happy man. You know, unfortunately, sometimes with these vintage electronics, you fix one thing on them and later on something else will break. Or sometimes you'll fix something and it'll work for the longest time. So you just never know with vintage electronics. It's kind of like working on an old car. You know, the old car, the parts are starting to wear because of the high mileage. Well, it's kind of the same way with VCR. You know, they get a lot of miles on them, and things just start to break on them. Especially with Beta. Alright. So, I don't know if you've seen the quick video that I done. Here's the power cord. We're going to plug it in. I'm going to back up the camera so you can see I'm plugging it in. Because we got no power at all. So you guys can see that it is indeed plugged in. I had tape holding the wires together to bind the cord up, but there we go. So we've got the power's plugged in. You can see it is plugged in, but if we turn the unit around, we're not getting anything on the display. So we got nothing. Our display is completely dead. I got a little test tape. We'll see if there's any kind of power. There's no power light. There's no clock display. And of course, we're not going to get anything. No. So, yeah. Nope. Not gonna get anything. So, yeah. She's dead. Okay, let's take this is a little plastic cover. There we go. That just covers the power supply. So let's just see. Let's see if I've got a blown fuse, because maybe it's just got a blown fuse. But they don't look to be blown. Yeah, they're not blown. The fuses are not blown. Well, first of all, we gotta unplug it before we can take it out. There we go. And let's just take it out. So we got a screw there. Yeah, let's just take this screw out. I'm gonna take these screws out here, and we're gonna see, I think just those two screws, and then the screws that hold the regulator in is ones that we have to pull out as well, which means we'll probably need to get some new grease. I'm wondering if that regulator has failed, and that might be why there's no clock display. That's what I'm thinking. But you never know, right? Oh wow, that's got a different size screw, it looks like. Oh no, they're the same. They look like different screws, so yeah. But let's see, you pull that off. Might have to pull. Yeah, I think probably these two screws as well. And then we have to undo the regulator as well. Need to pull out the regulator screws, the screws for the regulator here. So I'm gonna get going on getting this taken out, so I can take this supply. I want to take this power supply out and get get working on this, because I'm wondering if it might be the chip, because the ICs, they do go out. The 5441s go out all the time, but I've only had 5478 go out like once or twice on a machine. So usually those ones are fine, but I don't know. I'm just thinking it might be the regulator shot. That might have been, and I'll have to ask him if this thing was plugged in when it stopped working, or was it unplugged and then plugged back in and then stopped working. Okay, so then there's also there's two screws that take the the transformer. The transformer is screwed into the bottom there. So we'll take the transformer screws out as well. And hopefully, you know, this won't be too big of a deal. Too big of an issue, I mean. I'm just gonna make sure that we get this out of here so we can start working on it. And let's see if we can get it loose. Okay, we gotta take the screw down here that has to be taken out. I'm doing this one with my camcorder, by the way. We're not using the cell phone. I know that some of you liked the cell phone footage better than the camcorder, but that's what I've got to work with, because the problem with using the phone is sometimes I'll have to put the video, make up the video of different shots, and so I just think it's easier for me just to use the camcorder, because yeah. And then we'll take this loose here. I'll take that one loose. Yeah, I think that should get this power supply out. That should take that out. Now that should be fine. Yeah, well, maybe not. Oh, crap. I think I have to take the... Yeah, basically what I gotta do is pull this off, and then you take those two out, which I've done. I've put this kind of back together to kind of show you guys how to take these out, how to take the power supply out, because I'm sure that you guys, maybe some of you have never pulled a power supply out of one of these beta machines. And it is quite involved in removing the power supply. So we've removed the screws from the voltage regulator IC. We've removed the screws from the transformer. This has got 4 screws for the linear power supply. Transformer, I mean. This is the transformer. So... and then we've unplugged the connectors from the back, and I'm going to check this resistor here, because this resistor looks like it's been crunched, and I'm wondering if that resistor is bad. Just starting to think of what's going on. So now then, we also take the screws out of took a screw out of the top here, so this plate can, so this thing will actually now lift. It should lift right out. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. Here's the power supply. So let's check out some of these capacitors and just see what ones are okay. So it looks like we've got 25 volt at 6800 and a 25 volt at 4700. So I don't have a 6800 microfarad one, so if that one is bad, we're gonna have to, I don't know, I'll have to order some. But let's go ahead here and we'll start working on this power supply and start diagnosing. Yeah, guys, I do have some good news. And the good news is that that regulator is okay. I'm getting the proper voltages coming from the regulator. So the next thing that I want to check, because I've got the and Sony wonders why these regulators failed. There's no heatsink compound, or maybe there was, it just dried up. Yeah, it looks like the heatsink compound kind of dried up. I'm gonna have to put some new heatsink compound. Now this right here is another regulator, so sometimes these IC chips can fail too. But due to the fact that I see a bunch of Elnas, I'm gonna guess that the problem is gonna be capacitors. Well, there's some Nichicons there, but there's some Elnas too. So we're gonna go ahead and change out these caps. I'm gonna see. Let's just check some of these caps first, because I do want to see if maybe, perhaps, just maybe, mind you, that we've got some capacitors that might be bad. So let's just check some of these little caps here and see. Check that one. That one's bad. That one's bad. And that one's okay. Anyway, I'm gonna take some of these caps out, and I'm just gonna see if maybe any of them are leaking, because there might be some that are leaking. Because I'm just kind of curious there, and see, because it's like this one here is bad, that one's bad, and so is that one. And then this one's bad, but I think this one was good. So this one here is fine, but those three for sure are four, because we got that one's bad, those two bad, this one's bad, that one's okay. Let's check this one over here and see what that one looks like. So that one's not working either. So, or it's not open. It's not like open circuit, but it's starting to go bad. So I mean, yeah, I can do a ESR reading on them too. But so I've changed pretty much all the capacitors, except for this one, because this one tested fine. Believe it or not, this it's a bigger cap, and I didn't think it would be bad, but it was starting to go bad, because if you look at the other one, it's a little wet. Well, maybe it wasn't this. No, this one's okay. This one's low, but it wasn't leaking. But this one, however, you can see it leaking. You can see the wetness on that one. See, here's some on this one too. It's a little wet coming out of it, but some of them were wet. Some of the, you can see this wetness, but it's not showing up very well on camera on some of them. But this one for sure, though, this one was definitely leaking. See all that? That was definitely a leaking one. So now that I've replaced all the faulty capacitors, hopefully this thing will turn on. And you know something that's weird? This is a Nichicon. And this is the one that I found. This was a 1000 microfarad 16 volt. It was a Sanyo that was leaking. This is a 47 microfarad. No, it's a 22 microfarad at 22 volt. 25 volt at 22 microfarad. Here's a 22 microfarad, 25 volt. That was leaking. This one was leaking, which is a Nichicon 47, or is that a, yeah, 16 at 47 on this one. So, anyway, there were leaking ones. There were ones that were leaking. This one isn't leaking. This one was not leaking. You can see it's pretty dry, but it was kind of low on capacitance. And hey, it's a Nichicon. I like Nichicon. What the hell? What happened to Nichicon? Anyway, pretty rare to find Nichicon caps that have failed, because they're pretty good caps. I mean, it's not like it can't happen. I'm just surprised because Nichicon is, well, they're very good brand of caps, but and the only 47s that I have, most of these are 47s, and they're low profile. Typically I like to save the low profile ones for the idler motor circuit board that has 16 volt at 47, and they have low profile caps, and so I'm saving some of my low profile ones for that specific job, or something that's got surface mounted caps that I want to replace with regular ones, and get the low profile ones. But anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 capacitors. You know, we got 7 of them that were changed. So let's put this power supply in and see if by any chance this thing will power on. I've also reflowed the solder, and I've straightened up this resistor here. I've also checked all the fuses, they're fine. I reflowed the solder on some areas. There was this transistor, I reflowed the solder on that because it had a crack in the solder joint. I might reflow some of these other ones too while I'm at it, because I reflowed the solder on that one, on that resistor. There's another one. So there was a transistor, which was this one on the bottom. That one had a cracked solder joint. Well, I don't have the back plate on yet. Before I do a full reassembly, I want to see if this thing will power on, because I don't know. I don't know if it's going to, but we're gonna find out here real quick. So let's plug it in, and let's see if it comes back to life. And we'll do it so that you guys can see the shot here. Hey, alright. We have a clock display, guys. And we have a power light. We have illumination. Now, isn't that awesome? So this thing should work. It should play a tape. And The reason I say that is because this thing played a tape fine, it was working, and then, you know, because we had fixed it once before, and then the thing had a power problem, so, alright, let's go ahead and put a cassette in. Play. Yeah, let's do a counter. There we go. So yeah, it's back alive. It's alive. Yeah, it's, oh, wow. Jeez, you never would have thought. I thought it was a regulator at first. I seriously thought it was a regulator. The display's brighter than, I mean, it's a little dim. On camera it looks brighter than it is, but it's a little on the dim side, and I think it's just because of the filter. You clean the filter in here, and that will make the display brighter. But I think I did clean the filter on this when I first took this thing off, so I think I've already cleaned the filter on it, but I might check the filter again just to see. But with everything is working again on this. Oh wow, look at that. That thing's really moving. That's actually moving pretty quick for a beta machine. Reset the counter. Moving pretty quick for a beta machine. Well, I'm gonna actually reassemble the disassembly that we did. We'll reassemble it. We've got all new caps, except for the one capacitor I left, which was it was one I didn't even have. So I was glad to see that it wasn't bad, because I didn't have one. It was a 6800 microfarad at, what was it, a 25 volt at 6800 microfarad. It's got a good old linear power supply. Some kind of slow motion on this thing. I think if you hit pause, then you can hit slow, and it'll go slow. Well, let's reassemble this, and then we'll play with it a little bit. But I'm happy to see that it's working again. I have a Sony SL 80D or 80 SL 810D. Model SL810D is the model number. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, so I'm a little sleepy. I'm getting tired, so I think I'll just maybe reassemble this and call it a night and check it out in the morning and go through all its really neat, cool features. It is a very nice machine, so pretty cool. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put it together now because it now is powering on. So we'll reassemble everything and put this thing back together.